Invisible Man is a new horror film from Blumhouse Studios, directed by Leigh Whannell. If you don't know who Leigh Whannell is, look up a movie called Upgrade. Upgrade came out in 2018. It was one of my favorite films of that year, and so this is his follow-up. Again, a Blumhouse Studios film. This one stars Elizabeth Moss, Aldous Dodge. It stars Storm Reed. It stars Oliver somebody. I can't remember who he is, but he plays the antagonist in this movie. You guys should know who the Invisible Man is. He's one of pop culture's most infamous monster figures or whatever. It started off in a book by H.G. Wells a long time ago. And of course, over the years, the Invisible Man has been adapted to the big screen, into TV and all that kind of thing. And so in this movie, it's more of like a modern twist on the whole mythology of the Invisible Man as a monster. Elizabeth Moss in this movie plays a woman who is desperate to escape this very abusive, very controlling relationship that she has with her boyfriend, who is a very rich, very brilliant engineer, inventor, something like that. He's high up on technology. She's able to get away from him and escape to a friend's place, and then soon after, she finds out that this guy has committed suicide and has left his entire fortune to her. I guess not his entire fortune, he's left like a portion of his fortune to her, but still, he left her a lot of money. And then of course we start to see the mind games, because she becomes convinced that this guy has found a way to make himself invisible, he's faked his death, and now he is hunting her and tormenting her and stalking her. And there are a bunch of weird coincidences, and so that's the story. The story is her trying to prove that this guy is not dead and he's actually out stalking her and making her life a living hell. You know what, now that I think about it, I think it would be much more fun if I did this part of the review invisible. Yeah, I don't want to be on camera, I don't want to be on screen, I don't want to be seen by you people. Oh my god, this is so much better. There's so many more things you can do when you're not on camera and you're not being watched. You guys know what they say, it really is more about what you do when people aren't watching, like that's who you really are. So who I am right now is a guy who's just scratching his nuts, drinking some water. I can't be on screen scratching my nuts, but the principle is still the same. And even though you can't see me, trust me, I can see you because I can see everything. So either way, I gotta really give it up to Leigh Whannell in this movie. I thought he did a great job with the Upgrade, and I thought he did an even better job with the Invisible Man. I think I like this movie a little bit more. This is definitely a modern twist on the Invisible Man, and Leigh Whannell does a really great job at making it feel more modern, making it feel more realistic and more of a part of our society today. This is much more of a psychological horror movie. Like, it does have thrills, it does have scares. I'm not trying to tell you that it's like an art house type of horror movie. This is a movie that definitely is more about the tension and the suspense, and Leigh Whannell does such a great job at building both of those up, scene by scene. The camera work and the cinematography in particular really lends itself to a lot of tension and a lot of suspense here. There are a lot of slow, deliberate, long, wide takes that showcase the entirety of a room and make you feel like there's somebody there that's watching you. Like, we all have that feeling in our lives, right? You probably have that feeling right now of a guy that's on camera and invisible, and you can't see him, but he's watching you through the camera. We all have that feeling of being in a place where we can't see it, but we know that somebody is watching us. Letting shots linger a little bit and making you think that the camera work is actually following somebody else, when in reality, it's following the person who's invisible. That's the way that this movie builds anxiety. It plays with your head. It makes you look a little bit harder at the corners of rooms, the shadows. It makes you look a little bit closer at the empty spaces that you just take for granted in rooms. You add this to great sound mixing and an incredible musical score, and this definitely is one of those edge-of-your-seat, nail-biting, suspenseful thrillers. Elizabeth Moss is terrific in this film. She's outstanding. She's amazing. She is everything that you would want her to be in this movie. It shouldn't be a surprise. She's a very underrated actress. Able to walk that double edge of being a woman who is vulnerable, a very scared state, but at the same time, you see her grow, you see her strength, you see her kind of begin to fight back as she tries to take this stalking threat seriously. And that's another thing that's kind of under the surface of this movie. The idea that people try to discredit victims and people try to come up with reasons to not believe people when they're telling you something. The idea that also all of this trauma, all of the horror of being in a relationship like this, being controlled, being abused, being whatever, the idea that it stays with you and it haunts you long after the relationship is over. Like, you might be done with the relationship, but the relationship might not be done with you. That idea and other themes are explored very well in this movie that still manages to entertain and thrill you and surprise you in different ways that you might not expect. I gotta also single out the supporting cast. All the supporting cast in this movie is great. I love Aldous Dodge. Storm Reed, who plays his daughter, she's great in the movie too. There's a lawyer in this movie who's the brother of the antagonist who supposedly dies in the beginning. I can't remember his name, but he was great in this movie too. And if you feel a little bit weird about the fact that the camera is not showing me and you can't see me, don't worry. I feel like you'll get over that soon. You know what? I'm gonna come back for the negatives part of this video because I don't want to be invisible the entire time. Did you guys miss me? You guys totally could not tell this, but I was actually naked while I did the positives part of this video. And you missed it because you don't have x-ray vision and you can't see naked people. It's the one and only opportunity that you're ever gonna have to see me naked on this channel. So if you missed it, sorry, you're just shit out of luck. I do feel like this movie got a little bit predictable towards the end. The movie did have a lot of twists and turns, some of which I didn't see coming. But at the same time, towards the end of the movie, you do start to feel like things are falling in place in a way that you can really see how it's gonna end up. It gets kind of predictable, kind of derivative, like maybe you've seen some of this before. Some scenes in the middle of the film start to drag a little bit, like maybe they start to get a little bit repetitive, a little redundant. There's just some scenes that are built up with a lot of tension and suspense, and then the musical score swells, and then they cut to another scene, and that happens over and over again, and sometimes it can kind of irritate you. Extremely well made, great camera work. It has everything that you want in a thriller like this for a modern day audience. The Invisible Man was a great time at the movies, an excellent made film. I'm gonna give this one Superman Prime. Alright guys, those are my thoughts on The Invisible Man. So tell me, do you want to see more reviews where I'm naked or more reviews where I'm invisible and naked? You just let me know in the comment section. Don't be afraid to be honest with me. I have thick skin, I can take it. Please like and subscribe to the Superfan Show, and as always, if you like what you see, tell me how you feel and stay tuned to hear more from the Man of Steel. Peace.